This is Miss Blackledge, and I'm going to show you guys how to use the Microsoft Word equation editor and also the Google Docs equation editor for your internal assessment. Whenever you type anything mathematical in your internal assessment, you do need to use the equation editor. Otherwise, you will lose your notation points. So let's say I'm trying to show percent error, and I type it out, and then I actually want to write in the equation or actually type in filled in the equation for percent error. I'm not sure why it thinks I'm spelling percent wrong. So I'm going to go up here to insert, and I want to insert an equation. Here's where you would insert your table for if you're entering your data points. You can insert a table here and organize it the way that you want. I'm going to insert an equation. They have some basic, or not basic, but they have some regularly used ones here. We just actually want to click on the pi button. So percent error starts with absolute value bars on the outside, so those would be under brackets. And I want the absolute value bars, which are the vertical bars here. I'm going to hit the left arrow key to get back and highlight this box here that I'm going to type in. Percent error has a fraction in it, so I'm going to, again, insert a fraction. Again, I'm going to use the left arrow key, in this case also an up arrow key, to be able to highlight this top part right here. So percent error is the value approximated minus the exact value. So we say V sub A minus V sub E. So the way you get subscripts is if you go under here, script, and you choose the subscript one. Again, left arrow keys, so I have V sub capital A. I use the right arrow key to get to that subscript. Use the right arrow key to get out of there. Minus, I need subscripts again, so I'm going to go in the same place. V sub E. I need to get down to the denominator, so you can either hit the down button or you can hit the right arrow key a couple times. And again, I need V sub E, so I'm going to go back into the subscripts, V sub E. I want to get out of these absolute value bars. I'm done with them. So I'm getting all the way out, and I want to multiply by 100%. So for most of you, when you get here, it'll say basic math up here, and your multiplication will be right there at the very top. Those are your basic arithmetic. And we want to multiply by 100%. So this would be our percent error equation if you're going to type that. I'm going to put a little equal sign out in front. And that's what percent error would look like. Most of the things you guys are going to type is chi-squared. A lot of chi-squared is going to be talked about. So if we want to do chi-squared, again, I'm going to insert an equation. I need squared, so I have to tell it. You always start from the outside in, so if you know that you need a squared, you have to tell it that first. So I'm going to tell myself, or tell it that I need a superscript. That's your squared or any kind of raising to a power. And then you want to highlight the box here and type the chi in. If you click this little down button here, it'll give you some of the Greek letters, the more commonly used Greek letters, but not all of them. In this case, that chi isn't here. So if you go up to where it says basic math and click on that and find Greek letters, you can click on that. And this will give you all the Greek letters. In this case, we want a lowercase chi, which is this one right here. Hit the right arrow key, and there's your chi-squared. This is the way that you would need to type it to not lose your notation points for your internal assessment. I would play around with this a little bit. Most of the stuff what you're going to use is under the fraction, the script, that's where you get your x squared and your subscripts, maybe radicals, that would be your square roots, and then your brackets. That's mostly what you guys are going to be using. If you want to find something else, you can always ask me if you can't find it. But your final internal assessment will need to be on Microsoft Word, because it's just much better than the Google Docs. It's a much better equation editor than the Google Docs. So now if we're in Google Docs, we also want to be able to do our equation editors in Google Docs. So same thing, you would go up here now to insert, and we want to insert an equation. So now you have some symbols here. Let's say again I want to do percent error, so I need, these are all your math operators. I need fraction bar, or excuse me, absolute value bars, so they would be right here. I want to type inside the absolute value bars. So again, now I need a fraction. So you can see this little symbol right here. That's our fraction. So I'm going to go in the same place, and I want a fraction. I'm in the top. I need the subscripts for V sub A. So I'm going to go back in that same place, and I want to tell it that it's a subscript. So this X sub A right here. So you just start typing. You don't need to move your arrow key at all in Google Docs. So V, now move your right to the right arrow key. Sub A, to get out of here, move your right arrow key again. Minus Same thing, I need the subscript, so I'm going to go in here and get the right arrow key sub E. So I use the right arrow key to get out of there. One more time to get down to the denominator. And same thing, I'm going to go into math operators and I want the subscript V sub E. That was the right arrow key, right arrow key, right arrow key. So now I think I'm out of the absolute value bars. I want time, so I want under math operators, which is right here, X, excuse me. Oh, no, I'm not out. I need one more right arrow key. Now you can see the cursor right here. Now I need the multiplication, 100%. So there's our percent error again. We want, let's say, a little equal sign out front. So there's our little equal sign out front. It's not too bad if you blow up the size, but I blew this up to size 18 font. That's why you can see this pretty well. Normally you wouldn't be able to see this so well if you were at like a size 12 font. So now if we want chi-squared, once you've already done an equation once, it'll automatically show up right here. So we want to hit new equation, and I want chi-squared. So again, first I need to tell it that there's a squared. So I go into math operations, and I want this this time, the x to the b power. Now I need to find chi. Right here is your Greek letters. You have an alpha, a beta, and a delta. And we want a lowercase chi, which is right here. And then right arrow key squared. So there's your chi-squared. So again, same thing, I would kind of mess around with it. If you needed a new equation, here's your Greek letters, here's your operations, less than, greater than, that kind of thing included in the set of, if you're going to talk about that at all. There's most of what you're going to use is in this one right here, the one with the square root and the parentheses. And then most of you probably aren't going to use this until we get to logic second semester. So this was the video on how to use the Google Docs and Microsoft Word equation editors. Make sure you have nice equations in your entire internal assessment. If you have any other questions, just make sure that you ask.